Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time you're listening to this, everybody. It is Saturday, September 10th, and you know what that means. It's time. Well, it's time for the High Risk Wrestling Podcast. I am your host. I'm the street champion himself, Jeremy Pierce, and welcome. Bro, it's been a very, very crazy week in the world of professional wrestling. But before we get into all of that, as always, you can check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and the 215 on Twitter. Don't forget to check out the link tree, the coffee page for all donations. Very much appreciated. And also, movie and TV reviews, always got that coming. The Emmys are Sunday. I really kind of don't care. This is the first time in a long time I just don't care about the Emmys. On last week's show, we had our look at All Out. Did I get my predictions right? Was I correct? Actually, let me check the outline real quick. Let's see if your boy was right. So, quick rundown. I said Eddie over Ishii, got that right. I said Hook over Parker, got that right. I said Ortiz and Ruby over Sammy and Tay, got that wrong. I said Kip Sabian over Pac, got that wrong from the main show. What did I say? I said Warlord and FTR over the Machine Guns and Lethal. House of Black. No, I said Darby, Sting, and Miro over House of Black, which I got that right. Jade over Athena, got that right. Jungle Boy over Christian, got that wrong. Casino Ladder Match Joker, got that right. I think I said Hobbs over Starks, got that right. Swerve and Our Glory over the Acclaimed, got that right. Inter-Women's Championship, Tony Storm, got that right. Trios Finals, The Elite, got that right. Danielson versus Jericho, got that wrong. Said Danielson, it was Jericho. And World Championship, Punk, got that right. So, but today, what we were supposed to do, NXT, look at NXT 2.0 so far, but I also very much hate NXT 2.0. It doesn't have that many bright spots. But because of everything that's going on, we just gotta. Everything that's going on in AEW, that's what we're doing today. I'm sorry for this long intro, but we gotta really take a look at this. So, you know what's next. So just go on and hit my music. So there originally was a lot of news, but that's going to get moved to the story, to our big story. But let's get into it. Smackdown ratings. Smackdown. This is last week. Yes, the pre-taped Smackdown did. 1 minute. Did 2.2 million viewers. That was a solid show. That's not really it's not bad actually no, sorry, that was the wrong Smackdown. No, the pre-tape Smackdown did 1.9 million viewers with a 0.4 on the 18 to 49 demo, while yesterday's show did a 2.2. So Smackdown's doing very, very well in the ratings ever since Triple H has taken control. All Out had over $1 million in ticket sales. Let that sink in. That is very, very, very good. Tony Khan is working on trying to get Ring of Honor a television deal, but he also doesn't have complete, full ownership over it yet, and that's pretty much why he can't get it a TV deal yet. He has to get full ownership. So for now, we're just going to get, the championships being defended. With the exception of right now the women's championships. I know Mercedes Martinez is injured. Speaking of injuries, Christian Cage is injured. This is pretty much why his match was cut short. He pretty much did nothing in that match and let Luchasaurus do all of the work. Ronda Rousey said in an interview speaking of her YouTube gaming stream, she said she doesn't need a championship to make herself feel relevant. Piper never had a championship, so why should she? And I like that mentality. It's great how they built the character, unlike Charlotte Flair, who absolutely positively needs a championship to stay relevant. They've booked themselves into a corner with her. Alex Reynolds is injured. He got injured at All Out. Looks like most of the Dark Order is injured with the exception of John Silver. D'Lo Brown is no longer with Impact Wrestling. He was written off of television with a kayfabe injury. He's left the promotion. Left on good terms. There's nothing bad. And let's see what's next for D'Lo. Shawn Michaels has been promoted to Senior Vice President of Talent Development, Creative, whatever. I like how when people get these promotions, it's Senior Vice President, it's never President. So if he's a Senior Vice President, who is the President of Talent Development and Creative? Help me out. But it's good. It's solid. We're living in a world now where Triple H and Shawn Michaels are running the WWE. Let that sink in. Malachi Black has received a highly conditional release right now. He is dealing with something, whether it's personal, mental, whatever it is. He's taking time away from professional wrestling. We've heard nothing from Zelina Vega, his wife, but we all wish Malachi Black the best. I guess probably one of the conditions are he can't wrestle for anybody once he comes back to AEW. So we'll see what's going on. So the question is, what happens with the House of Black? I would love, and I'm stealing this from What Culture, I would love for Butcher, Blade, and Bunny to join the House of Black, and they can become the dominant faction in AEW. You elevate Brody King as the leader. He's your world champion. Buddy is your mid-card, your TNT. Butcher and Blade are your tag team, and you can do Julia Hart and Anna Jay, the Bunny, TBS with the women's title, whatever. It works. It's going to work. Do it, Tony Khan. Chris Statlander has had her knee surgery, and it's time for recovery. I wish her the best. Second ACL surgery. That's crazy. Clash of the Castle. Didn't do that well in pay-per-view buys. It was a solid show. We did go review it real quick. Check out what just happened. But it only did 8,000 in the pay-per-view buy department. That's a really big decrease from a SummerSlam, which did a little over 18,000. But again, SummerSlam was promoted as being one of your bigger shows. You know what I mean? Like, let's see how Extreme Rules does. I'll be there. Let's see how Extreme Rules does when it comes to the pay-per-view buy department. But that's the news, and we shall be right back. All right. Let's get into the week in review. So let's start with Raw. We got our Clash at the Castle Fallout, and Edge opens up the show. He comes out and tells about the history, talk about the history between him, Ray, and Dom, and just watching him grow up. But Ray can't protect Dom anymore. You're no longer a child. You are a WWE superstar. When you play a man's game, you get a man's consequences. Dom comes out with the Judgment Day. Rhea is now his poppy. And the Judgment Day take out Edge, and then they take out Ray. So we're all in on this Dominic feud with him and Ray. Let's see. I would like for Dom to go by Prince Mysterio and wear a mask. We had a Fatal 4-Way tag team match featuring the Alpha Academy, New Day, Los Lotharios, and the Street Profits. And the winner will become the new #1 contender to the tag team championships. And a really funny moment, in these matches you can tag anybody. It ended up being Kofi versus Xavier Woods, and we thought they were going to fight. No, Xavier Woods just laid it down so Kofi could pin him. Smart. But then Braun showed up, and destroyed everybody and just wrecked the tag team division, because that's what we're doing now. I thought we cared about tag team wrestling. Raquel and Aaliyah defeated Nikki ASH, and Doudrop, and I think Nikki is slowly going to be dropping her superhero gimmick, going back to Nikki Cross, and Doudrop will be going back to Piper, the Viper, Nevin, as well as she should. Kevin Owens confronted Austin Theory in the ring. They had a match. It's a good match. KO won. He's the prize fighter. That's all you need to fucking know. Miz still doesn't want to talk about Dexter Lumis. Damage Control, now they're just toying with Bianca. And Bayley said it best. Bianca got pinned, and she couldn't take the loss. She couldn't take being pinned. So now she has to go and get that win back against Bayley. Bayley's like, nah, on my time, not your time. Damian Priest beat Rey Mysterio, and in our main event, Lashley took on The Miz in a steel cage match, and this was solid. Ciampa and Miz did their best, but when the match started, they just beat the shit out of Lashley within the rules. But Lashley did win after Miz was climbing down, and Lumis came out from under the ring, forcing Miz back in. Hurt Lock, match over. And then Lumis stole Miz again. At some point, they got to explain why Lumis is doing this, and I'm hoping they call up Indy at some point. Over on Dynamite, we had big fallout from All Out, which we'll get into a little bit later. But Tony Khan vacates the World Championship and the Trios Championship, and he did two things. One, the Trios titles will be on the line, which we'll get into tonight on that night's episode, and there will be the Grand Slam Tournament of Champions. So it'll be in the first round, it'll be Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson. The winner of that match will take on Chris Jericho. The other first round match will be Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin. The winner of that match will face Jon Moxley. Then whoever wins those respective matches will face each other in the championship final at Grand Slam. So you do the best with what you got, and that's what they came up with. And there are a few other people, let's call it the tournament champion, so there are a few other people you could put in there. I would have definitely put Miro in there, and he makes a good point, like, why isn't he in there? We know Scorpio Sky is hurt, but I for sure would have put Miro in over Darby. I think this would have been the perfect chance to put Miro in and just kind of Sky shoot the rocket on him, strap the rocket on him, shoot him to the moon. MJF returned, cut a great promo, does MJF stuff. He's awesome. I'm happy that he's back. And then Moxley came out and just cut, man, just a fire promo. If Moxley told me to go murder somebody, I would have done it at that point. Death Triangle defeated the Best Friends to win the vacant Trios Championships, and Pac is now the first ever double champion in AEW history. That's his. He is the current Trios champion and the current All-Atlantic champion. Andrade still wants 10. You can't buy people, Andrade. Tony Storm beat Penelope Ford in a championship contenders match. The Acclaimed were coming out, and then Swerve interrupted. Now, obviously, you couldn't have Max Caster do a rap. You just couldn't. He could not do a rap. But I like that they're swerving a little bit into, no pun intended, Keith Lee, and actually more so Swerve into a heel instead of Keith Lee. And there will be a rematch for the Tag Team Championships at Grand Slam. If you guys don't know, the best match at All Out was the Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory. Wardlow beat Tony Nese. Bryan Danielson defeated Hangman Page to advance to the Tournament of Champions. Daniel Garcia in the main event defeated Wheeler Yuta for the Pure Championship. Bryan came out to congratulate Daniel Garcia. Jericho did not like that very much. Over on Impact, Aussie Open defeated Chris Bay and Ace Austin. Mickey James got a W. We're continuing her retirement storyline. Mia Yim got into a little tiff with Kenny King backstage, and she caused him to lose his match to a debuting Yuya Uemura. Chelsea Green defeated Taya Valkyrie. Masha Slamovich is coming for Jordan Grace. I'm looking forward to that. They've been pretty much pushing Masha as this a giant monster that just can't be beaten. In the main event, Eddie Edwards defeated Heath. Honor No More took out Josh Alexander and Rich Swann after the match. Over on SmackDown, we had more Clash at the Castle Fallout, and the best match of the night, Imperium, looks like they're back together officially, defeated the Brawling Brutes, and this was a really, really good match. It went 20 minutes. For the last couple of weeks, SmackDown's been opening up with like a long match, like a 15 to 20 minute match. And the one bad thing about this match, was that they hyped us up for Sheamus and Gunther. And then they get into the ring, and then they go to commercial. And when they come back from commercial, it's like Pete Dunne versus Kaiser. Sheamus Gunther round 2. Solo Sikoa is introduced to the bloodline and to the world and to the WWE universe because he is the street champion. Raquel and Aaliyah defeated Toxic Attraction. This is just to get Raquel and Leah a win because they're defending the championships on Monday. So always good to see my baby Gigi Dolan. Ronda Rousey quickly won a 5-way elimination match to become the number 1 contender. This match featured Ronda, Sonya, Natalya, Lacey Evans, and Xia Li. The match went, I think, 5 minutes. So it makes all the other women look weak, and it just makes Ronda look dominant. This could have been better, and it could have been better. Hit Row and the Street Profits defeated Maximum Male Models and Los Lotharios, and looks like Max Dupree might be going back to LA Knight. I'll take it. Strowman, who is officially part of the SmackDown roster, killed the Alpha Academy, so that's another tag team devalued. And in the main event, Solo Sikoa versus Drew McIntyre ended in a no contest as Karrion Kross choked out Drew. Yep. Karrion Kross push continues. Over on Rampage, Sammy Guevara advanced over Darby Allin and the tournament champions after Ty and Anna both got involved. Samoa Joe's confronted by Josh Woods and Sonny Nese. It looks like he's got his next challenges for the Ring of Honor TV Championship. Serena Deeb defeated Madison Rayne. This was just a way to give Madison Rayne a win because she'll be teaming up with Britt to take on Tony and Sheeta, I believe. Jade asks who's next. She's calling out the entire women division. Well, she beat everybody, and she's probably going to lose to Chris. Chris is injured, and she beat Ruby, and she beat Anna, she beat Tay, she beat Athena. Let me. If I look at the AEW roster, right? If I look at the current AEW roster, love the SmackDown Hotel. We go to the women. She's not going to take on Anna Jay. She's not going to take. She already beat Athena. No Britt. Sheeta would probably be next because it's not going to be Jamie. I think she fought Kylan King already. Layla Hirsch is injured. It's not going to be Maria Shafir. It's not going to be Mercedes Martinez. Could be Nyla. We haven't seen Nyla Rose. Nyla's been wrestling on Dark. I'm looking at the rest of the women. Ruby, Sky, Ty, Rose is injured, Tony. It's either going to be Nyla Rose or Sheeta. I'm fine with either one of those. I would love for a face Nyla Rose. Also lastly from Rampage, Claudio Castagnoli retained the Ring of Honor World Championship over Dax Hardwood. I don't know why I said it that slow. Our matches of the week, we got a lot of them, y'all. From Clash of the Castle, the Intercontinental Championship, Gunther versus Sheamus. From Clash of the Castle, Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle. And from Clash of the Castle, the Undisputed Universal Championship, Roman Reigns defending against Drew McIntyre. From All Out, Eddie Kingston versus Tomohiro Ishii. The Trios Tournament Finals, the Elite versus the Dark Order and Hangman Page. The World Tag Team Championship, which I think is probably the best match of the entire weekend. It's a match of your candidate. Swerve in Our Glory versus the Acclaimed. And Jon Moxley versus CM Punk for the AEW World Championship from NXT. Mako Satomura versus Roxanne Perez. And ladies and gentlemen, there are not that many few bright spots on NXT Roxanne Perez is one of them. Mako Satomura is a legend, and I'm letting y'all know. Like, Roxanne Perez doesn't need NXT. She really, really doesn't. She's being held back. Neither does Mako Satomura, neither does Blair Davenport, neither does Alba Fire. They're all being held back. From Dynamite, Bryan Danielson, Hangman Page, round 2. Very, very amazing match. Danielson won that one, as you know. And from SmackDown, Imperium versus the Brawling Brutes. We had a lot of good, just high quality. Man, this was a good week of wrestling. It was just, whew. Our star of the week, there's a lot I could have given it to, but it has to go to our returning MJF. The devil himself is back. That is the weekend review, and we shall be right back. Well, if you don't know, let me help you out. First things first. A lot went down at All Out outside of the pay-per-view. A lot. What exactly happened? Well, there was the media scrum after the event. The wrestlers, pretty much a press conference. CM Punk went off. He went off on Colt Cabana. He went off on Kenny Omega. He went off on the Young Bucks. All while sitting right next to Tony Khan. Then he was confronted in his locker room by Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. A fight broke out. A chair was thrown. Kenny Omega was bitten. So let's fully dive into what happened. So at the media scrum, Punk was asked about his shoot promo against Hangman Page, and he addressed the entire situation that Page dug up about Cabana. So remember when Page and Punk were feuding? And if you haven't noticed, there's been a trend outside of Darby Allin. All of Punk's feuds have been personal. They've been with, I'm not talking about like the one-off matches like Lee Moriarty or Dax Harwood. I'm talking about the actual feuds. They've all been personal. They've all been with people trying to tell the world just what kind of an asshole CM Punk really is. Hangman Page, Eddie Kingston, MJF, John Moxley. I'm probably missing somebody else, but those are the major ones. And they've all been saying time and again, he's not the guy that you think he is. Remember when Punk was feuding with Triple H? Triple H said the same thing, that you want change. You want change. But only if you're the one at the top, and only if you're the one sparking change. So at the scrum, ask about the shoot promo. Punk, remember, when he was returning, he went off scripts, and first he just challenged Hangman Page, knowing damn well that Hangman Page wasn't even in the building. Now, we're not going to dive into this fully, but there was beef between Colt Cabana and CM Punk. It's a long history. They went from best friends to pretty much enemies. And if you notice, Colt Cabana hasn't been on TV. Apparently, he's been moved to Ring of Honor. And a lot of people are saying Punk is to blame. Punk dived into all of that and just pretty much done. They don't need to talk about this. And he made it clear that they are far beyond apologies. He gave Hangman a chance. And he said that Paige handled things that jeopardized the company's house, the $1 million house, which is not true because they were always going to make $1 million. He went off. He went off on MJF. He went off on the Young Bucks, pretty much explicitly burying them. So what sparked this? Well, Punk is a man that, but I genuinely think that he's a good dude. But the moment you disrespect him, or he thinks that you disrespected him, a switch flips, and that's what happened. So he's in his locker room, and we're getting conflicting reports. But here's what we know. He's in his locker room, and he's confronted by Kenny and the Bucks. Right? Punk, with his comments, got a lot of heat. The Bucks and Kenny were pissed. So they go to the locker room, and they barge in. And there was a fight. Ace Steel, Kenny's friend, CM Punk's friend and trainer, was there with his wife. And a fight broke out. Ace threw a chair at Nick Jackson. That got hit in the face. And Kenny got bit by Punk's dog. Now, that's the gist of it. There was a fight. Chairs were thrown. But even in all of this, Punk was injured in the match. Punk has a torn pec, I want to say. He's going to be out for 8 months. Because of this fight, it's now a legal matter, right? Punk went off on MJF saying that he turned his back on the company and he's tired of wrestling these pricks. He's tired of wrestling these kids. They think they know everything, but I'm not the boss. Punk pretty much went into business for himself. The fight had police get involved. And here's the thing. Pretty much the second in command in the company, who is Mega Perek, the chief legal officer in AEW, was also in the room. Police were there. So now we're figuring out how this fight broke out. Why? We know why the fight broke out, because CM Punk at this point is a little baby, and he's bitter and he's angry about what? Don't know. And now the locker room is divided. Now the locker room is divided. Are you with the Elite or are you with Punk? But as we got closer and closer to Dynamite, that shift mentality that it changed. We know about Punk's issues with Colt Cabana, but the Young Bucks. Punk says he wants nothing to do with Colt Cabana, but he says with the Young Bucks, he says they have irresponsible people who call themselves EVPs who can't manage a target and they spread lies and bullshit. Referring to the Bucks, talking about, well, Punk's the reason Colt Cabana is no longer here. Punk drew a line in the sand, and Tony Khan, now he is in a situation, dicey, spicy even, that he can only say and do so much. So here's who was suspended. Kenny Omega, Matt and Nick Jackson, Pat Buck, Christopher Daniels, Michael Nakazawa, and Brandon Cutler. They were in the room. As you know, Nakazawa and Brandon, they're boys with the. We know. How long the suspensions are, we don't know, because now this is a legal issue. And Tony Khan can only do so much to weather the storm. And it's tough, and it's not easy. And he says that, you don't have to like the people you work with. You just have to work with them. You have to be professional. Right? This is not WCW, mainly because Tony won't let it be WCW. You feel me? He won't let it be WCW. It's too much money in this at this point. Nick Jackson is hurt. Chair hit him in the eye. That was thrown by Ace Steel. And apparently Ace Steel threw the chair because his wife was in the room with a broken foot and he wanted to protect her. You just start throwing chairs, dog? Like, this is a legal issue. And we legitimately don't even have all of the facts. Well, where do we go from here? Well, what about Punk and Hangman Page, right? Dave Meltzer provided some background on what's Punk's issue with Hangman. Hangman did an interview a couple months ago, and he didn't have a hard answer. He didn't answer a hard question in a way that Punk appreciated. This is from Meltzer, when somebody brought up a question, what have you learned from Punk and Sting? And he didn't have a good answer for that. He sort of said, I'd listen if they said something, but he also said, I kind of go my own way and learn by trial and error for my own stuff. And Punk was offended by that and brought it up like this doesn't know it all. I just thought that Page was thrown a question and she answered it, and Punk got mad because his name was brought up. That had nothing to do with Page. The interviewer brought it up. Period. So you felt like all of this is Punk's doing at this point. All of this. Punk's got beef with Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens in such a beautiful way. KO tweeted out this past week. Picture of him versus Stone Cold Steve Austin in the main event of WrestleMania. Because that's what Punk wanted for the longest. And he never got it. He never, ever got it. And now the locker room is against Punk. The elites started this company. They did this. Kenny, the Bucks, Cody, with the help of Tony Khan, started All Elite Wrestling. Then we have the number 2 wrestling promotion in the world. I've been to all of their Philly shows. Going back to another Philly show in a couple weeks. Plan on going to Full Gear. So we got suspensions. We got the locker room turning. Hell, Eddie Kingston, who feuded with Punk, was asked about his tweet from a while ago when he was on Busted Open Radio, and Punk's a bad person according to Kingston. He says that's Phil MO. Let's just call it like that. That's his MO. Well, Eddie doesn't like a lot of people. Eddie doesn't like Jericho. He doesn't like Danielson. He doesn't like Claudio. He doesn't like Punk. And now he's calling Punk Phillip. Punk and A still could possibly be fired, but it's a legal situation. So now we've got to wait. So we get to Dynamite, and we have another talent meeting, and this meeting is held by, it's not held, but it's led by Jericho, Bryan Danielson, and Jon Moxley. You really can't have three better people. These are veterans in the industry. These guys have been there, done that, seen it all, especially when it comes to Chris Jericho. So this was a rally the troops. Let's do what we do. And let's put on a great wrestling show. And that's what they did. That's what they did with Dynamite. We reset. And what I can see is a lot of the originals, a lot of the AEW originals get more of a push. I mean, if you look on the show, we had Death Triangle versus the Best Friends. They're originals. Yuta and Dan Garcia, they're not originals, but they're part of the future. Penelope Ford, original, versus Toni Storm, was part of the future. So there was a clear, hard reset. The Acclaimed, Daddy Ass. So that's what you do. And Tony could have really, when he made his video on Wednesday, he said all he could legally say. He didn't mention any names. He didn't acknowledge. He just said, "Listen, this is I gotta vacate the belts." And you know what's so crazy? Punk's rant was planned. He planned this weeks ago. So it seems like at this point, he's the issue. He's the problem. Why? Dude, what are you bitter about? What are you angry about? Now, part of this is Tony Khan's fault for gushing over Punk, giving him a boatload of money, but more than anything, letting this slide, not nipping this shit in the bud, because he should be nipping in the bud with Tony and everything that's going on with Thunder Rosa. But immediately elevating CM Punk to the top of the company, right? If Punk planned this weeks ago, why not just nip it in the bud? And here's the thing, listen, I know he was a little upset, referring to Tony Khan, because for the last 4 years, All Out, it's been a Labor Day weekend event, I'm sorry. And he had to compete with 2 other events. Clash at the Castle was Saturday. The same day as All Out was NXT Worlds Collide. So now he's dealing with this brawl. He's dealing with some of the top stars in the company fighting. Now there's a legal issue. And there's one common denominator. CM Punk. He's drawn the line in the sand. Punk wants to be a paragon of truth to spark change, and he keeps sparking change, but not in a good way. The wrestling world will move on without you. Question is, where will you end up in the pantheon of the greats? Maybe because he knew that he was injured, he could just go on this rant. Maybe he thought that he was Teflon. But what's so weird about his rant was it didn't have to do anything with what he was asked or what the discussion was about. Because remember, he planned this. Whether or not Punk had Colt Cabana blackballed, that's not up for discussion. Amir, when you're asked about Colt, Amir, I don't have a relationship with him anymore. Would suffice. Period. That's it. No. And there's nothing that Punk could say holds water. He accused Hangman of nearly costing AEW a big gate at Double or Nothing. Well, those tickets sold out in minutes, so no. Says Omega and Kenny can't run it, and Omega and the Bucks can't run a company. Well, you're wrestling in the company that they started and got a major TV deal. Says they haven't accomplished anything. Well, New Japan and Ring of Honor will have something to say about that. They're not. He is the common denominator. He knew what he was going to say. He knew what he was going to do. And now here we are with multiple suspensions, about to get another world champion. We've already had new trio champions crowned. And listen, I can get Punk was upset that he got the money. He got his own show to return. He was supposed to face Tanahashi at Forbidden Door, but you got hurt. I can understand that. Tanahashi's the biggest star in Japan right now. But why can you always be so bitter, so angry, to just burn it down? Desmond wrote a really good article. I suggest you guys go check it out. CM Punk's just another name for Hulk Hogan. Because when people came for Hulk Hogan's spot, or people were getting elevated, he did his best to shut that down. Exactly what CM Punk was doing. He is insecure. And I'm going to point out something from the Desperate article. Punk's a very good wrestler. But you're wrestling on the same roster as Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, and Jon Moxley, and the Young Bucks, and Penta, and Phoenix, and Daniel Garcia. People that are definitely better than you in the ring. At one point, Punk was great on the mic, but you're on the same roster as MJF and Jericho and Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, guys that are great on the mic, so you don't even stand out anymore. He's not an agent of change for anybody good. He's an agent of change for himself, to keep himself on top. AEW will survive all this because they have to survive all of this. We can't go back to being in a world where the WWE is the only competition. That's it. They're competition for themselves. So they did a hard reset, AEW that is, because they have to. And they have to press forward, and they have to say that we got to keep moving forward. We got to keep putting on shows. We got to keep this train rolling. And that's what they did. And I'm looking forward to what's next. We got the Grand Slam Tournament Champions. We got new Trio Champions. And there's still other beef that we haven't even talked about, that we don't even need to get into, because at this point it's just stupid and irrelevant. So I'm hoping for the best, because we need more wrestling companies. We've got AEW, we've got WWE, hoping to get Ring of Honor back, New Japan, Impact. It's a crazy time to be a wrestling fan. And all eyes are now on AEW. The WWE has shown that they kind of know what they're doing now with Triple H being in charge. They're cool. I mean, it's been really good for the most part. There's been some hiccups. I'm looking at Smackdown with that women's elimination match. Braun Strowman, Karrion Kross, but I digress. Let's see where we go from here. Let's see what they do. But that's it for me, everybody. Thank you as always for listening. I very much appreciate it. As always, check out the socials, Charismatic Creations, on Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52, on Instagram, the 215, on Twitter. Next time, we'll be looking at Welcome to the Main Event. Guys and girls that their first time at the top, what did they do? What happened? How did they handle it? Yeah, that's going to be it. And you know the deal. As always, Xia Li, Wendy Chu, Shotzi Blackheart, and Gigi Dolan. Holla at your boy. Peace.